Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. We're here on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm here with my mom this morning.
Hey.
Today, we're just going to chat with her and talk about life. My mom is my best friend, and she gives really good advice and just has a really good perspective on life. So I thought it would be fun to have her, have someone else come chat a little, and yeah. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about, what do you think, like, the differences now for me as a young 20-year-old compared to when you were a young 20-year-old or, like, in your 20s? What do you think the differences kind of were, like that?
Okay, hard to remember when I was a young 20-year-old, but
Last year.
I would say the biggest difference I immediately think of would be technology,
as we're streaming live.
There was no streaming live. There were no cell phones. There was nothing. I was a copywriter on a typewriter. I didn't have a computer. Technology, both good and bad, has really accelerated the world, changed how you guys operate in the world. There's a global connectivity that it really wasn't accessible, and you have that now. The world goes so fast. Social media, which is great, but it also obviously has its issues, good and bad. I'm hoping gender roles are changing a little bit. Certainly in my lifetime working in the workplace, I've experienced a lot of sexism, misogyny on the job. That's still happening. I really hope that's changing.
Which is what we hope with Rise, like, to give women more of a voice, like teach women more things.
Absolutely,
too,
so important. I think you guys have so many more options and choices than my generation had in terms of career, how you work, where you work, when you work. It's completely different. It's not all good, but it's good, and there are issues that have to be solved around those things. And also, I think in your generation, because there's so much more intergenerational interaction in the workplace and outside of the workplace, I think my generation looks to your generation to be mentors to us as well. I didn't really feel that I was ever asked to mentor anyone in their 50s or 60s when I was in my 20s, but I really value input and feedback I get from young adults now as someone who's almost 60.
But look how good she looks.
Okay.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about how things are different. Do you think there's anything that's, like, the same from when we were, from, like, when you were your 20s or you were my age? Like, do you think we're going through any of the same stuff or anything?
Well, I think as a parent, I'm hoping that I have instilled in you and your siblings the basic core values that I grew up with, and that's, being honest, having personal integrity, doing my best all the time, proofreading everything, your compassion, commitment to your community, just those basic respect, honor, basic core values. I think values are values, and I hope that continues in your generation. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't, but I hope that as parents, we and then you, as you teach others coming up after you, continue to teach those basic core values. And I think stress is stress. I think there's always stress in life, and opportunities for stress are endless in relationships, in workplace, in home life, in whatever. I think you need to have some problem-solving skills and coping skills, and I think, Maddie, you talked about that in your live.
If you didn't check out our other live on Wednesday, we talked a little bit about different coping skills. Also, Julia says hi.
Hey, Julia.
Okay, anyway.
So I think those things are really important and are always going to be important, and you're always going to need to deal with those things. And something else that's the same that your generation may not see is the same, but I think there's this basic need for human connection and reaching out to one another and interaction, which I know that the younger generations have a hard time, like actually talking to a human or picking up the phone.
I was just gonna say, I, as a millennial, have a hard time calling people. But then even like I work with, so like for my job, I do a lot of client things, and I work with a lot of millennials, and even though I don't love talking on the phone, I encourage my clients to talk on the phone with me because it helps. But I've noticed like when I'm working with people my age, like they don't love to do that either, but like I relate to that. But I would say I would rather just like go up to someone and talk to them face to face. I think that's why I have a hard time talking on the phone. I don't know. It's a millennial thing.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that beats that human interaction that's not aided by a device. Mm-hmm. And then I guess the other thing is just to be resilient. And I don't know how you teach that. I think life experience makes you hopefully be resilient and go with the flow when things are up and down, and life is up and down. Definitely. And so I think those kinds of things are common threads that we share.
Cool. Okay, so we talked about differences and similarities. So my favorite part, what advice would you give someone? I always ask my mom for advice because I always think moms know really well. So I'm offering up my mom's advice services for a ride. So
I'm here.
What advice would you give someone like my age or someone again in their like early 20s or like millennials?
Well, I think, looking back, and as I said, I'm going to be 60, which I really can hardly say.
We look like we're sisters.
Life goes really fast. And I think, Maddie, at 23, you keep looking ahead. What's next? What's the next thing? I know I always did. I still kind of think about that. Like, what's my next thing? What am I going to do next? What am I going to accomplish next? I think try to enjoy the ride, be present, be intentional, savor the happiness. Life is really volatile, and with the great things, and you're in a really good, happy place, I think, right now in your life. Stuff happens all the time, and sometimes the bad things and the good things happen at the same time, mm-hmm. which I don't think as a younger adult you necessarily get. Like, you're on this trajectory, having a great time period in your life, and then something, someone gets ill, grandparent passes away, some life milestone thing mm-hmm. happens, you lose your job, you lose your apartment. It's all, again, it's kind of back to that stress, resilience, savor the happiness, and know that you have to kind of be present for mm-hmm. when other things happen, because they are going to happen.
Which, speaking of that, another live Julia did was about like savings and stuff, and how like you should have a savings account just in case stuff like that happens. I know that doesn't have to do with like happiness, but that's another thing that you never know.
Right.
What's going to happen.
I think it's good to plan for the future, but not live your life in the future, live mm-hmm. in the present. I wish personally I had worried less about things. I am a worrier.
Me too.
That's where you get it. I worry a lot about things. I think I, as a young adult, was not really encouraged to try new things because of the chance that I might fail. And I was very much raised that way. Like, you go forward and you don't deviate from the path. My path is very linear. I think that was pretty common for my generation in general. That's a generalization, but the path was much more linear. I didn't take a lot of risks. That doesn't mean I encourage risky behavior, but I didn't take a lot of risks. I stayed sort of to my safe path.
Gotta get out of your comfort zone.
I stayed in my zone. I still often stay in my zone, and it's good to kind of push yourself. I wish and I hope that you don't get overly concerned with how people judge you or what you perceive as judgment from other people.
I
think
talk a lot about that too, like being unapologetically yourself.
Right.
Just,
I think social media only magnifies that, and that's one of the pitfalls of social media, along with lots of other things, and that it's a time drain. But here I am on social media.
And also, I think as someone who does the rise social media, I think we try not to do that and try to like make it an accepting place for everyone.
Right. Let's see. I wish and I hope for you, you can just love yourself as yourself. I have a lot of flaws, physical and emotional flaws, as we all do. Everyone does, but just
Nobody's
embrace
perfect.
it. And as you say, be unapologetically you. Be resilient and just keep learning. Here I am with a lot of my life in the rearview mirror. I don't know what's to come. None of us do, but I do feel like it's important to keep learning and keep the journey going. That self-development, no matter where you are in life, is super important, and that we're all works in progress, no matter where we are in life. And it's really interesting watching my older parent kind of continue to go through this journey, 30 years older than me, and also, be in a position to watch my kids go through it. So
and that's something, again, we talk a lot about in Rise. It's like self-development. That's why we like have those modules for you to do, not to like keep like talking about Rise, but just saying like it's a real life things that is helpful.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's my words of wisdom. Take them or leave them.
So that was our live today. Thanks again for being on it with us.
My pleasure. I love Rise. I wish I had a Rise for my generation. So I think it's a great concept, and I think we can all mentor each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Make each other better.
Definitely. If you like this kind of content, make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. Otherwise, we will see you guys tomorrow morning, and hope you have a good day.